Good evening. Well, the storm in Newfoundland is having a big impact, so much so the lights are off in our St. John's studios. Anthony Germain joins us live from outside. And Anthony, quite a storm you guys are dealing with.
Oh, this is a whopper. I know that's a cliche people use when you get big storms, but this is a big one. We have 13,000 people out of power right now, and this storm's got at least 8 more hours to go, so we'll see what happens there. States of emergency, not just for the city of St. John's, but some outlying municipalities as well, the city of Mount Pearl and several others. Come by chance recently, a smaller community recently announced that. And just within the last 15 minutes, the city of St. John's has announced that it's taking all of the plows off the roads, which is virtually unheard of. What the plan is that in the event that they actually need emergency crews to get someplace, those plows will be dispatched in front of those. For instance, if there's a fire, the plows will go ahead, and that will allow the fire trucks to get where they need to go. So states of emergency, so much snow. Normally, we could actually pull up a vehicle behind me here. You can see the drifts. Then that's one of the big aspects of this storm. We're going to talk about that in just a moment with our meteorologist. But the drifts are a problem, and the winds are a problem. And as I said, this storm is not finished yet. I'm going to bring our meteorologist, Ashley Brawweiler, in with me to talk about this incredible storm. Ashley.
Yes. So all day today, we've been seeing the snow accumulate quite quickly. We're currently sitting at 48 centimeters of snow that has fallen here in St. John's at the airport. And the winds started to ramp up earlier this afternoon, but they're really starting to ramp up now. So last time I checked, or at least what I could find, was 102 sustained in St. John's, with gusts that are even higher than that. A number of areas, there's one of them, a number of areas on the Avalon seeing gusts in excess of 150 kilometers per hour. Areas like Bonavista, the last time I checked, 153 kilometer per hour gusts. Fortune Bay on the Burin Peninsula or in that area, seeing a gust of 167 kilometers per hour.
Right, and monster winds, and of course that has also had an effect at sea, but huge waves as well.
Absolutely. We're looking at storm surges of anywhere from 9 to as much as 12 meter waves breaking on the shore.
Massive waves. And one of the things I noticed, we were trying to go out before we ran out of power here, and so we thank our colleagues in Nova Scotia for helping us get to air, basically in broadcast crisis mode because of this storm. I headed out earlier to try to get some stuff done on camera, and it was as if somebody was shooting a BB gun in my face. The pellets sort of smashing in with those winds that Ashley was describing. It is painful to be out there. And when the city announced a state of emergency, basically telling people, get off the roads, shut down the businesses, do not go outside. That's what it's been like here today.
Absolutely. And you know, you talked about the storm 8 hours from now. This is going to last even longer than that. We're just getting into the heaviest winds that are going to ramp up, and they're going to stay like this anywhere from now to about 10, well, I'd say midnight, 2 a.m. We're looking at wind gusts in excess of 130 kilometers per hour. That will continue as well. 4 a.m. we're still looking at gusts near 120, and then eventually we'll start to see that taper off by 10 a.m. down to 80 kilometers per hour. But you got to imagine all of this snow.
Let there be light.
There's light. That's wonderful. But all of this snow with those winds whipping around, we're still going to see blizzard conditions well into tomorrow.
All right. I don't know if that means the power's been restored in our area or if our generator has started to function properly. We'll get the latest information for Newfoundland viewers. I know we're going to throw to one of your colleagues, one of our former colleagues in a minute. I guess I would just say for people who are watching, we got walloped on Christmas Day, we got nailed on New Year's Day, and now this. So 2020 is turning into quite a winter.
It absolutely is, yeah. And yeah, we'll let Ryan tell you what's going to happen over the next little bit.
Thank you so much, Anthony, Ashley. Boy, I mean, I was missing not being there, but I guess this is the next best thing. Power goes down, and I've got to do the hit from here. So I'm glad to be on the show and glad to be taking part. Why don't we just step back and have a look in case you're joining us late here. This is what we're looking at in terms of warnings, anywhere from southeast Labrador to Port aux Basques, Burgeo-Ramia. And of course, the eastern side of the northern peninsula, Bayvert, and then we have the blowing snow advisories in effect from Grand Falls into Buckins, the interior, and everywhere from the Bay of Exploits to the Avalon and back across into the St. Albans region and the Burin Peninsula under that blizzard warning. Ashley talked about some of those winds she was just alluding to. This from, of course, our friend Rodney Barney at the Gander Weather Office just tweeted this out, pasting literally seconds ago to get this to you folks. Green Island, Fortune Bay, 167 km/h gusts. Bonavista gusting to 157. Hearts Delight at 156. Cape Bonavista at 150. Greats Cove at 146. So some just impressive winds. And as Ashley mentioned, this peak window of winds across the Avalon, that's not going anywhere. That's going to be lasting right through this evening and into the early overnight hours. Now, if you're keeping track of the winds at the St. John's Airport, Rodney letting me know that that wind sensor is actually down, and they're just estimating winds now at the airport. So if you're keeping tabs there, that's why things may be looking off there. So it looks like the forecast from Ashley is panning out. I mean, we're already at 60 centimeters in Mount Pearl. Jordan Ford estimating there, giving us the measurements there. And at the airport at St. John's, we're up to 48 centimeters. And again, this thing is not nearly done yet. So the snow will continue. We're racking up here. Snowfall in Gander as well. 20 to 40 centimeters expected there. Amounts dropping off, obviously, as we work our way west. The latest radar shot shows that a bit of a window here where we're seeing a break over the South Shore region down towards Trepassey and, of course, the Cape Race region. But St. John's still into the thick of it, as we saw there with Anthony and Ashley talking about that heavy snow continuing over the western parts of the Avalon, Bonavista, Clarenville, and then that snowfall backing off. Just some light snowfall now over central parts of Newfoundland, but that will continue to edge its way into that region as we continue to see. The center of this low, by the way, is still southeast of the Avalon Peninsula, slowly working its way northward. It's going to have a long journey north tonight, where we're going to continue to see those relentless winds, the snow continuing to pile up. And that's where we'll start to see some of that snow backing its way into central and into western parts of Newfoundland as well. Area of high pressure, it is very strong over Quebec and Ontario. That is part of the story here that's really helping to drive those winds in from the north and making this storm even more severe. Timeline, Ashley alluded to this as well. Watch here, we are at 6 p.m. Gusts 120 to 150. Boy, those have panned out, as you can see, and even in excess of 150. And as we roll through this evening, you can see those gusts continuing in the 140 to 150 range from St. John's to Bonavista, and those amounts will then continue, or those winds rather, will continue right into the midnight hour. The snow continuing to pile up, as you can see here. By the time we get to the early overnight hours, starting to see some relief back down to around 100 kilometers per hour in St. John's. The winds will last a little bit longer, likely out towards the Bonavista Peninsula region, just more exposed there. And you can see those winds easing off now to 90 in Gander. Even along the west coast, where we'll see some onshore flurries tonight into tomorrow morning. Still gusting 50 to 60 there through tomorrow morning as well. Bonavista still potentially gusting up to 140 through Saturday early morning. And then those winds continuing to taper off through Saturday morning into the early afternoon hours, and those winds will, by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon, just be gusting to 60 kilometers per hour in St. John. So finally able to get out and shovel. But when you are heading out to shovel, and let's be honest, it's going to take a lot of time to shovel. You're going to be dealing with the temperatures tomorrow afternoon near minus 12 in St. John's, minus 14 in Gander, minus 12 in Corner Brook. Winds, those winds again gusting to 80 for, as you saw there, through most of the morning, tapering off a little bit lighter than that into the afternoon. Now, you folks in through Labrador looking pretty quiet. That's the good news there. We've got lots of sunshine, not much to talk about for you folks in the big land. Now, for Sunday, a little more tolerable for the digging out weather. That is minus 6 to minus 8 across most of the island, minus 20 to 24 in through Labrador, from Happy Valley, Goose Bay to Lab City, Cartwright near minus 17, as you can see. And yes, that is another system starting to pull in here. Let's quickly time this out. As we roll through into the Saturday evening time period, there's that break. Sunday morning, smooth sailing. Next system moves out of Nova Scotia and into Newfoundland as we roll into the Sunday afternoon time period. This is going to be a snowmaker, yes, but a change to rain for the Burin and then across the Avalon Peninsulas for Sunday night in through Monday morning. Another St. John's cement event, and that again appears to be the case for the Burin, Clarenville, Bonavista, up into the Bonavista North region. So this one will be not nearly as much snow, but will be a heavy shovel as well. With looks like it will end as rain. The good news, looking quiet for Monday into Tuesday and dare I say even Wednesday of next week. So some time to shovel out, which is good news, some time to clear out. I believe we're good to throw back to Anthony back in St. John's. Sir, best of luck to you for sure, and we'll talk to you a little bit later on in the show. Hopefully I'll have another weather update for you a little bit later on.
All right, Ryan Snodden. The last time I was trapped in the dark at the CBC in St. John's, it was with Ryan Snodden, and he taught me how to change a shear pin in my snowblower, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Probably coming out. I may as well take these off because I can't see a thing anyhow. You may notice the lights are going off and on behind me. If you see that, it's not part of some kind of light show. This is Mother Nature wreaking havoc, and we're having some power problems, so please be patient with us. CBC reporter Peter Cowan joins me now. I mentioned at the top, and as has been the news, states of emergency in our province, here in the city of St. John's and elsewhere. Peter's been covering the story all day, so Peter, where do you want to start?
Well, let's go with the list. Obviously, the city of St. John's and Mount Pearl, they were one of the first places to declare, but we also have smaller communities. The community of Torbay, we've got Paradise, Come By Chance, Norman's Cove, Long Cove, and Chapel Arm, Portugal Cove, St. Philip's, Bonavista, and just within the last half hour or so, Conception Bay South. So these communities have all declared states of emergency, and a lot of people are probably wondering, okay, well, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, it's not as though they're crying for help from the army or anything like that, right?
No, basically the main reason they're doing this is to be able to force people to stay off the roads. So the state of emergency means businesses are forced to close, not allowed to open. If you're not a first responder, you're not on the roads. And we've seen, for example, the city of St. John's, they pulled off the plows off the roads. So you definitely shouldn't be out on these roads. So we're hearing hints that this may last quite a while because, of course, it's not just the actual blizzard conditions that we're seeing right now, but it's also the cleanup. Right. Over the next couple of days, this snow's got to be moved out of the way before roads are even passable, and that becomes a whole lot harder if you've got people who try and go out onto the streets. So we're, like everyone else, we're watching to see how this storm does, and then we'll need to hear from these communities. They'll need to make sure that they actually have things cleaned up before they lift those states of emergency, businesses can reopen, and people can get back out to try and resume their lives.
Right, so it's possible that the state of emergency will be lifted tomorrow, but not necessarily, depending on the extent of the cleanup and how much space people need to actually get the cleanup done.
And even if the state of emergency is lifted, if you've got this much snow in your driveway, you're not going anywhere tomorrow morning, even if you're allowed to.
No, that's true. All right, Peter Cowan, thank you very much.
Before I go,
sure,
because a lot of people will be wondering, we talked about the City of St. John's plows, but what about the Department of Transportation and Works, the provincial plows? A lot of small communities rely on that. The latest update we have is 25 out of 26 depots have pulled their plows off the road, and that means they're only going out if they are actually called upon by emergency officials. So an ambulance, a fire truck, they need to go out, and I heard from the Transportation Minister that they did have 16 of those calls. So for example, an ambulance that needed to go from Clarenville here into St. John's, and so they went out and were able, so they're basically, the only reason they're going out is if there's emergency crews that need to get somewhere tonight.
All right, Peter, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, that's Peter Cowan. Now, I should also mention we're getting different reports of different events that have happened as a result of this. I believe in Spaniards Bay, the fire department has had a major problem with the roof on the station there. And also, the newsroom here in St. John's received word that there was some kind of avalanche activity in the historic battery. No report of injuries, but we did speak to someone who said a wall of snow smashed into a house and broke some windows. For those of you who know St. John's, the battery, a very historic community right around the harbor. So we'll try to keep on top of that. My understanding was some emergency crews having a hard time getting there. Perhaps they've arrived on the scene since then. We'll try to bring you that as we get it. Now, for those of you who've been watching the news over the last 24 hours, you know that yesterday was the funeral of John C. Crosby as we said goodbye to this legendary politician. Well, Kayla Hounsell, who's usually based in Halifax, she's from Gander. The CBC sent her here for this, and she had to stick around because of what's going on here, and she was out in the thick of it today.
The City of St. John says the state of emergency will remain in effect until further notice. It means all businesses have been ordered to close and all vehicles other than emergency vehicles have been ordered off the roads. Schools and government buildings have also closed and flights have been grounded. Newfoundland is experiencing extremely high winds, very heavy snowfall and storm surge, and it is expected to continue well into tomorrow. Most people seem to be heeding the warnings and staying staying off the roads. We were out on the roads for a couple of hours very early this morning before that state of emergency went into effect. And even then, it was very difficult to climb those steep hills downtown St. John's is known for. Since then, we have seen photographs of cars almost completely buried in snow. And those winds, it's taking my breath away. They have picked up and intensified dramatically. Canada's Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness tweeted this afternoon that the federal government is monitoring the severe weather here in Newfoundland and Labrador and that the government is ready to help if necessary. The St. John's mayor is urging people to stay home until the state of emergency has been lifted.
One of the challenges is the wind is expected to come up to very, very high levels this afternoon. Of course, that brings about a whole array of other concerns, such as power outages, etc. So we're prepared to deal with those, whatever may arise.
Newfoundland has already received an unusually high snowfall this year with 170 centimeters since December, and the worst is yet to come. Meteorologists are calling this the worst storm they've seen in many, many years. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, St. John's.
All right, that's Kayla Hounsell in St. John's. Kayla originally from Gander. So welcome home, Kayla. I hope that you're having the time of your life. We're really glad to have you here helping us cover the storm. Joining me now is Carolyn Stokes. Carolyn's also been helping us gather survival information today because it's been quite a day, quite a night. Carolyn.
It's amazing. Yeah, earlier today I spoke with Vince McKenzie. He's the fire chief with the Grand Falls Windsor Fire Department, and we were chatting about things people can do to stay safe at home. Thousands of people right now without power. Vince McKenzie talked about the dangers of generators, just to remind people that if you have a generator running, if it's in a garage or in a shed and you need to go check on it or refuel, how quickly people can get injured or even killed if there's a buildup of carbon monoxide happening there. It could take just minutes. And you may remember Dardanelle in 2014 when tens of thousands of Newfoundlanders were without power. 9 people went to the emergency room with carbon monoxide poisoning. 1 person actually died. So really stress that if you have a generator, to be careful of that for sure.
Also the issue as well, for the people who don't have power, at least 13,000 when we started this broadcast, there's a temptation to go in the garage, maybe use a camp stove to cook and that kind of thing. If you're going to do that, you really need to open up the door, and you'll have no problem ventilating the place, I can tell you that. But if you are cooking in your garage, make sure that you've got the place properly ventilated.
Yeah, be extra careful as well. You know, if you have flashlights and your power is out, use flashlights. Don't use candles, because that's another issue. If there's a fire in your home, how are emergency crews going to get to you at this point? And not just that, the fire hydrants are all buried in deep, deep snow right now. So really be extra careful was what Vince McKenzie was saying about candles and any kind of fire in your house. And also, you know, check on your neighbors, check on loved ones, people with disabilities. We're all in this together at this point, so it's good to just check on people.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Talking to somebody with the Seniors Alliance, they're pointing out that if you know a senior who lives alone, and there are many such people in this province, not that they're necessarily in trouble, and not that you can actually get to them, but even just to give them a call to let them know, hey, this is going to blow over, and when it does, we'll come help shovel you out as soon as we're done. That can mean a lot to a person who's in a bit of distress with this unfolding.
Ooh, right? No pun intended, blow over. It's certainly blowing a gale out there now. So.
All right, thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
My colleague Carolyn Stokes. Now, earlier in Kayla Hounsell's report, you saw Mayor Danny Breen talking to Kayla. This has been a developing story, and I know that Amy spoke with the Mayor of St. John's, Danny Breen.
And we've reached St. John's Mayor Danny Breen via Skype. Mayor, we've heard that the trucks and plows have been pulled off the road. When do you think work can start on digging out?
Well, the trucks and plows have been pulled off the highways by the Department of Transportation. The city plows and equipment is still working. What we've done, though, is we have made sure that we're covering off the emergency vehicles, so that if we do get an emergency call, that there's a plow close by to help that emergency vehicle get to its call. So we've just changed our routing a bit there. The visibility here is deteriorating. It's pretty bad out there right now. So we just want to make sure that we're able to accommodate the emergency vehicles when they're if they have to answer a call.
Well, what are you advising people to do as they wait out the storm?
Stay home. People need to stay home, and that is the safest place for them to be. And we'd also like for them to, if they know of someone who may need some assistance, to contact them if they can, and make sure everything is okay. It's a terrible night out there, and this is a very major storm, and we want to make sure that everybody is safe.
Can you talk a bit about the essential services, hospitals, fire departments? How are they impacted, and what is available if somebody needs help?
Our emergency services are available. As I said, the fire halls and the hospitals. We have plows in the areas of those, so if they get calls, that we can be there to assist them to get to their call. And we have our full snow clearing staff on and equipment, and our fire department is ready to go, and the hospitals are operating as well. So we're working through it. It's very challenging, and it's challenged by the amount of snow that was on the ground. We had, since Christmas Eve, we've had about 170 centimeters of snow. A lot of that is on the ground. We've had several major snowfalls, and to add 75 on top of that, it's pretty difficult out there.
Have you seen anything like this in recent memory?
I was just talking to a few people, and I don't remember a snowstorm like this, and I certainly don't remember a combination of snow and wind like we're having now. It's very treacherous out there, and it certainly please people stay home, be safe, and while we ride this one out, and then begin the cleanup.
Now, who are you most concerned about at the moment?
Well, I'm concerned about everybody, but you know, you're always concerned about seniors who may be living by themselves, and that's why asking the residents just to think about that person and that they know are in the neighborhood, and reach out to them and make sure that they're okay.
Mm-hmm. How long do you think it will take for the region to dig out and get back to normal?
I can't really say that right now, but I would imagine that it's going to be a couple of days anyway. It is just to get the streets open. It's a significant snowfall, and the drifting, and because right now we're not able to really get a lot of clearing done because of the visibility. We are we're going to have a pretty major cleanup. So. We'll just tackle it, and hopefully we'll get through it as quickly as possible.
Well, in terms of power outages, obviously there have been some. Are you expecting that number to grow as the night goes on?
I really have no idea, but certainly one of the major concerns with wind at this speed is power outages. So. We're making sure that our staff are available to deal with any of those issues, to support Newfoundland Power and to assist the residents in case of prolonged power outages. So we're ready. We're prepared. We have an emergency plan in place, and we'll be there to help in whatever way we can.
Do you know of any emergency situations or accidents since this started?
Not right now. I haven't been informed of any, but I do know that the visibility has decreased significantly in the last little while, and our crews are working very hard to make sure that in the event of emergency that we're able to respond as quickly as possible.
Well, if people need help and they have access to a working phone, who should they call?
They can call 311, or if it's a power issue, they can phone Newfoundland Power at their customer service line.
All right. Well, thank you.
And if it's an emergency, of course, 911.
Well, thank you for your time, Mayor Breen. Please do stay safe.
Thank you, Amy.
And we thank you as well, Amy. Appreciate you getting the mayor on. Now, shortly after that interview, the city made a decision, and the mayor called us before we came on the air to announce the city of St. John's taking all the plows off the roads. They're there for emergency purposes only, so they'll help fire trucks get there. My colleague Megan McCabe joins me now. Megan's been in the newsroom plotting and tracking all of this. So what's the very latest?
Well, as you just mentioned, the city has taken all of its plows off the road. I've never heard of that ever happening before. But they did say they had some strategically placed by the hospital in certain parts of the city so that if there is an emergency, much like the provincial plows, they're on hand, ready to go to escort emergency vehicles where they need to go. Earlier in the day, an ambulance was escorted from Clarenville into St. John's. And talking about how unprecedented this is, so state of emergency. When has that happened before? 1984 was the last time the city of St. John's declared a state of emergency, and that was an ice storm. So that didn't even compare to this much snow and this much wind for this long.
So it's been a while ago.
Also before I was born, I would just like to say.
Okay, just bragging about your youth.
First in my lifetime. No, it's been an absolutely unprecedented day. And I gotta say, I'm a Newfoundlander. I covered Dark NL by myself as a video journalist, and that was when everybody lost power. It was a massive situation, massive storm. This is worse than that. And I had no idea. I mean, Ashley was talking about the forecast. We were looking at it, we were planning, but it's almost beyond planning. Like, look at us here.
But when you say it's worse, I guess what's interesting is the lessons. Dark NL, I mean, there were hundreds of thousands of people out of power. Now we're talking about 13,000. So there was a lesson learned, remember?
Yes.
And they refurbished some of the electrical systems. So we do have 13,000. If there's a good news story, it's that we don't have as many people out of power given these conditions and those winds.
Absolutely, but I'm just referring to the conditions, how they're worse. Like, you can't, to be told that you cannot leave your house. We have people trying to leave CBC to snowshoe home. I was hoping to be one of them a little bit later. That is not even possible. So far, the people who have tried to leave the building since 3 p.m. have come back. And you can see it right now. It's been a constant day of trying to keep everything updated and trying to figure out what is happening where. And operating with a lot of our staff have been working from home as well because it was just not safe for them to come in. The web writer that we had going from Holyrood, just outside the city of St. John's, he just lost power too.
And there are a lot of people with their vehicles still here. Megan McCabe, thank you very much.
Thanks, Anthony.
And of course, for those of you who are watching and you want the very latest, you can always go to our storm center and get the very latest news as to what's happening with this system. As Ashley Brawweiler mentioned a while ago, this is going to continue. I'm going to call on my colleague, national reporter Chris O'Neill-Yates. Chris, you've been in the thick of this as well. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I was out earlier today. When I walked in here today, and now it's like more than waist deep, but the morning started out, Anthony, you just knew it was going to be bad. We went downtown. Everything down on Water Street, Duckworth Street was deserted. We got stuck.
I want to show people how well decked out you are. I mean, this is the person who gets ready to cover a storm.
Sealskin, yes, of course. But yes, you have to be well decked out. There's no bad weather, there's only bad clothes. But this is really, really bad. Nothing was moving downtown today, and we saw some people who were just walking about. You wondered what they had to go to. Cars were stuck everywhere. You saw some of that yourself. It's just one of these things. It's not my first rodeo, but I've never ridden a bull as bad as this one, I gotta say.
Okay, listen, I want to bring Ashley Brawweiler back. Thank you so much, Chris. And I think Chris is going to be stuck in this. We've just got a couple of minutes before we're going to take a break, and we'll be back after that break. But Ashley, of course, if I can bring you back in here. Now, I should let you know, Ashley moved to St. John's from the Arctic. In your career, now you're a bit younger than me, where does this rank as far as storms go from someone who actually worked up in Yellowknife?
You know, I've seen forecasted storms with high winds. Never like this, to be completely honest with you. The last blizzard I forecasted was in the Kivalik region, and that blizzard lasted 100 and something hours. But it's not just the wind, it's the sheer amount of snow.
Yeah, the intensity of this.
I've never seen anything like it. I don't even think I've ever seen videos like this, and there's I'm honestly at a loss for words. This is I don't know. This is exactly why I became a meteorologist. Just to, it is so important for meteorology and advances in meteorology, and that we get the word out there, because in this case, it could have been
Yeah, and I guess
it's not over yet. But
and I guess in defense of the things that the Brawweilers and the Snoddens of this world do for a living, you talk about survival information, the amount of interest in the weather, and the fact that the lead up to it, you and the others in your profession, they more or less nailed it and told people that this is going to be the storm of the year.
Yeah.
And I really hope you're right, because I don't want this storm to be beaten.
well, I'm telling you right now, it's not going anywhere. So
Right.
I think that's obvious.
All right, Ashley, we'll probably talk to you again.
Yes.
Now, I should mention that we are going to be back with more information and news on this incredible storm. So I hope you'll stay with us. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. So stay tuned to CBC Television.
This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Good evening and welcome to viewers in Nova Scotia. We've been helping out our colleagues in Newfoundland and Labrador. We'll have more on that storm in just a few minutes. Now, over more than a decade, 2 decades ago rather, the Cobequid Pass has been open. Motorists have paid hundreds of millions of dollars in tolls to use it.
But where half of that money has actually gone may surprise you. Here is Jean Laroche with tonight's top story.
This is a story I wanted to bring you from the Cobequid Pass, but high winds and whiteout conditions forced its closure. Just one of the problems that has plagued this multi-million-dollar venture. Another one is the cost of the decades-old public-private partnership. The tolls have never been popular. Protest groups sprang up long before the heavy equipment moved in, and politicians have taken their shots. But there was good reason to build something better than the stretch of the Trans-Canada called Death Valley by locals and recognized nationally as one of the most dangerous highways in Canada. But if you think tolls have gone to build it, maintain it, and run it, you're only half right. Red ink has been just as costly as the blacktop. As a public-private partnership, Ottawa and the province together contributed $55 million. Private investors kicked in another $66 million for a total of $121 million. Over 22 years, taxpayers have paid $30 million. That's to compensate for toll increases that were supposed to go ahead but didn't. Motorists have paid $350 million in tolls. Of that, roughly half has gone exclusively to cover interest on the loan. Tolls have paid for highway improvements, maintenance costs, and employee salaries, but that debt is the single largest item paid for by tolls. To date, $167 million has gone to pay interest payments alone, and private investors, well, they're still owed $30 million. It's that kind of interest payment that the Auditor General of the day warned the province about back when the road was still under construction.
How do we know the people of Nova Scotia are getting the best bang for their bucks?
There's now enough money in reserves to pay off the debt, but last week the Minister of Transportation added another speed bump. More work to be done before the tolls come off.
Possibly the establishment of a rest area in the on the highway, and maybe establishing a satellite maintenance area, which would make it easier for us to get in there and provide service when we're challenged by the weather.
The local MLA for the area says neither is needed, and the government should pay off the debt now.
The debt could be paid today, and the tolls should be removed. It's an unfair tax on the people that live north of the Cobequid Pass, including my residents and citizens in Cumberland North.
Despite the fact there is enough money now to pay off the debt, if the province does it now before the end of the contract, it still will have to cover the full cost of borrowing, and that means another $10 million to those private investors. Jean Laroche, CBC News, Halifax.
Well, as we can see in John's item, the gusty northwest winds are blowing around the snow, causing lots of cancellations, delays, and closures right across Nova Scotia.
But you know, the biggest complaint, like just about every place in Canada, is the wind chill. Colleen Jones has that story.
Okay, so we have no storm alerts, but we're all saying the same thing. Man, is it cold.
There's nothing like a minus 25 wind chill to remind you it's Canada and it's winter.
It's really cold.
There's a saying that says there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothes. Tom Bell lives by those words.
I got the boots with the cleats in them. This is attached to my hood, so it's over my mouth, and I'm warm.
The blustery, icy conditions caused accidents on roads across the province. Certainly, air travel has been delayed. But as people try to get to where they need to go, there are others who are stuck, says Greg Martel from Souls Harbor Rescue Mission. They served 100 hot lunches, and on a day like today, he worries about those who can't get here.
The concern about a day like today is that there are people that can't get here for whatever reason. So it could be mobility issues, it could be not having eyesight. And so those people tend to not go out where the need for having food is so great.
And they're still hungry.
And they're still hungry, yes.
Don Witt has just finished his lunch at the mission. He knows someone always has it worse.
It's nothing compared to poor Newfoundland where all my relatives is, you know that.
So on this frigid day, I head for a warmer feel. I find it here at Golf Zone. Neil McGilvery says it never feels like winter, as long as he's swinging a club.
It's always warm in here.
Michelle Phillips remembers when she didn't mind minus 25.
I'm feeling it, but I'm a prairie girl. I'm from Saskatchewan. So this is easy. Well, I've been here 20 years, so it's not as easy as it used to be.
Her dog Ozzy has a winter coat on. Meanwhile, Donner, a Burmese mountain dog, looks giddy that a January deep freeze is finally here. Colleen Jones, CBC News, Halifax.
All right, let's take things back to Anthony in St. John's now. Okay, so Anthony, a chilly day here, but it looks like we really don't have much to complain about.
Well, I was going to say I don't feel so lonely, and I'm sure people watching in Newfoundland and Labrador actually feel that at least our friends and brothers and sisters in the Maritime provinces know what it is we're going through. And I know we're going to talk to Ryan in a second, but I thought I'd show you just to give you a sense of how intense the snowfall has been. If you bear with me, Amy, we'll see just what it's like back here. So when you're trying to sort of thinking after work you're going to walk home, this is the kind of thing that you're facing. Incredibly deep snow, and we've got another 20 centimeters or so to come. So this is a heck of a storm, intense. 13,000 people out of power, states of emergency here in St. John's and elsewhere. And to get a whole look at this system, I think Ryan Snodden is going to help us out right now. Ryan.
Thanks so much, Anthony. And yes, to all my former colleagues and current colleagues, of course, we're all big one happy family here in CBC. And so we love helping you out there with power outage there at St. John's Station. So taking the reins here in Nova Scotia. And from all of us, hope you guys stay safe and we can keep everybody updated on what's going on. Have a look at some of these winds. Boy, they have been really gusting already. And this, again, we're just entering that peak wind period across eastern parts of Newfoundland. This is as of 5:30, 167 in Green Island, Fortune Bay, Bonavista, 157. You don't see St. John's here at the airport, and that is because the wind sensor is down at the airport, but just some very impressive gusts. And of course, as Anthony just alluded to and showed you, boy, a ton of snow, and that 60 to 75 plus looks like it's going to be at least that, as we have 66 centimeters reported right now in Mount Pearl, 50 centimeters at the airport in St. John's, and that snow continues to just heavily come down at snowfall rates as high today as 10 centimeters per hour. Unbelievable snowfall rates. Now, timing, you can see those very strong winds will continue through this evening, even from the Bay of Exploits right down from Gander to the Burin Peninsula even. But the northeast coast obviously bearing the brunt of this, and the northeast Avalon and Bonavista in particular. Note by the time we get to after midnight, starting to see those winds taper off, which is good news. We'll continue to see that wind easing into Saturday morning, but still when you wake up, gusts near 100 kilometers per hour from Twillingate to St. John's, and then working our way towards the lunchtime hour, that's when we'll start to see those gusts become a little more tolerable. And yes, it will be an uncomfortable snow shoveling tomorrow with some blowing snow continuing, but winds really easing through Saturday afternoon. We're talking about temperatures tomorrow near minus 12, and so bundle up as you head out there. Wind chill values into the minus 20s. It is going to be definitely uncomfortable for digging out of this next this latest blast of what looks to be a crippling storm for the metro region in particular. Minus 23 in Labrador City, minus 17 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. It is nice and calm thanks to the area of high pressure overhead there. Sunday, a little warmer across the island, still pretty chilly though, -6 to -8, and we have another snowfall maker coming in for Sunday. Thankfully, it does not look nearly as impressive, and in fact, we will see a change to rain across eastern parts of Newfoundland on Sunday night. That is your forecast to now. Stay safe out there, Anthony.
All right, Ryan, appreciate that. So for those of you who are watching on the Burin Peninsula, as bad as this looks, I guess rain on top of all this, not terribly pleasant, and then maybe a little calmer heading into next week. But we've got a couple of days to deal with all this. Peter Cowan is back with me now. We'll talk about the states of emergency once again. Peter.
Yeah, so just want to run through the communities that are under a state of emergency. St. John's, Mount Pearl, Torbay, Paradise, Come By Chance, Norman's Cove, Long Cove, and Chapel Arm, Portugal Cove, St. Philip's, Bonavista, Conception Bay South. So these are all communities that you are not allowed to go out. You probably do not want to go out, but you
don't even try.
Don't even try. Stay off the roads. Businesses are closed. Let emergency crews be available to deal with real emergencies, not someone who's been stuck on the side of the road. And I did ask, there are actually penalties. In St. John's, they don't believe they've ever had to issue them, but fines, even jail time, for people that end up deciding that they want to break these rules. So it is serious. And really the issue here is the city of St. John's and all these communities, the reason they're doing this is they just want people to stay off the roads. Right now there haven't been any requests for things like the Army or any federal or even provincial assistance for these communities.
Right, although the federal government did say it's sort of on standby in the event that we need any help, that it'll be there, right?
Right, but so far there hasn't been any requests. Who knows, once daylight comes and we see how much snow, we may decide we need a little bit of help, but for now, the request hasn't been made.
All right, thanks a lot. It's Peter Cowan, who's been helping us cover this throughout the day. I should also mention, I was talking to law enforcement today, one of the issues they had was that people realizing you really can't get anywhere, take a look, in a car. Some people are actually taking skidoos onto what would normally be called roads. You're not supposed to do that. So if you're tempted to use your snow machines to get around, you can use them in the usual places, but you are not supposed to be using those on roads. Just because they're not plowed is not an excuse to get in your snow machine to head over to a convenience store, and they're all closed anyway, so just don't bother going out. I'm going to invite another one of our colleagues, my colleagues here at CBC St. John's, Jane Adey, to get some information about radio. CBC Radio in Newfoundland and Labrador has been all over this since early this morning, stayed on the air all day to provide people with information. So Jane, what's the latest?
Well, we started this morning, as you know, at 6 o'clock and went on through right up until we lost power at about 4:30. We hope to be on again in the morning at 6 o'clock and go until noon, because, you know, this storm could continue like it is now up until then, and then people are going to be cleaning out. So we're providing vital information. We had a lot of good discussion on the show today, a lot of mayors calling in, delivering relevant information for people about, you know, staying off the road, emergency situations, getting warming centers ready in their communities should people need that if they lose power today. So lots of good feedback from people. You know, we even had kids call in talking about what they were doing at home, and also lots of reminders. What was really heartwarming, people calling in to say, make sure you check on your neighbor. You know, this is one of the themes throughout the day. So as bad as it is, I was saying on the radio today that this can be a really community building time, you know, when people come together, help each other out. We're going to see a lot of that tomorrow as people have to struggle to dig out after this. So as I said, tomorrow we're hoping to be on again. We've been doing sort of a tag team approach to this. Every radio host in the building took a turn today to host a couple of hours of radio to get vital information. So community leaders should feel free to call in and pass along details to us so that we can get it out to the public.
Okay, Jane Adey, appreciate that. Obviously tomorrow there'll be lots of information in the aftermath of this. It's not going to end, as Ashley was saying, for another 8-12 hours. So once that actually does happen, it winds down, there will be a lot of information pertaining to the cleanup, where you can park your cars, where you can't, what's open, what's not. So make sure to tune into CBC Radio. With any luck, we'll have the power back on and be transmitting the way CBC Radio has been doing all day. Just looking at the winds still gusting out here, visibility is absolutely atrocious, so it really makes sense not to head out there. I see another colleague of mine, Lucas Wall, is standing by. I actually saw Lucas try to leave the building earlier today in snowshoes and a safety vest, and here you are.
We tried, Anthony, and part of the problem that we ran into, of course, you've already ditched your glasses.
I know.
We
taking a pounding.
We couldn't see 6 feet in front of our faces. The snow was so deep and the wind was so strong that it was like getting pelted in the face with snow. It was just not safe to be out in it, even on foot. I know some people have tried to do that or tried to drive through it, and it's just not safe to do that, even for us on foot to try to progress just up the road. It was just not safe.
All right, so I guess in some respects we're looking at a CBC slumber party here at CBC St. John's over the next little while.
We're ready to hunker down. Luckily, I think there's some food and we're starting to get power back now. So we're here for the long haul.
Okay, well, let's hope that the power does come back. Lucas Wall, thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right, Lucas Wall, part of the large team that has either been here working or can't escape, and that really is the situation. Shortly before we came back on, after the news highlights with Jean LaRoche and the other news stories, one of our colleagues actually snowshoed right back behind us. She was trying to get home, and it's really difficult, almost painful out there. Ashley Brawweiler has been tracking and following the storm and has the very latest. Of course, Ryan has been helping with all the maps that we usually have, but because we have this electricity crisis, we had to rely on Ryan's maps.
We did. We had to rely on him to help.
Which we
us out.
appreciate.
Absolutely. So happy that he was able to step in there for me. Look, just checked the latest at the airport. St. John's is estimating 157 km/h gusts at the moment. So we are in the thick of it. We will continue to see these winds through the overnight tonight. Eventually by the morning, we will start to see those winds taper off. And by taper off, I mean 100 km/h.
Not much of a taper.
No, and they'll more than likely continue through at least the first half of tomorrow.
Well, and it just struck me, if you're mentioning those kinds of winds at the airport, Ashley, that means in terms of the flights, and obviously nothing's moving in this, prohibited not just by those winds, but also all the snow on the runways. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's obvious, but we'll be digging out for a long time.
All right. Okay, so in terms of what's going on here, that's pretty much it. What you see here is what you get in Newfoundland and Labrador right now. Lots of snow, lots of wind, and you think there's about 10 hours more of this?
Of the wind, absolutely.
All right. Lots of wind. Almost done with the snow, although it's still coming down here. Really appreciate you tuning in. And as I mentioned with Jane 80, with any luck, we will actually have CBC Radio back up on the weekend for you to give you all your survival information. So for all of us here at CBC St. John's, our thanks to our colleagues at CBC Halifax. Really appreciate the help in getting us on the air tonight, given the fact that we are out of power. And we'll throw things back to our colleagues in Halifax.
All right, not a problem, Anthony. Good luck, and please do stay safe.
Thanks.
Welcome back. We're learning more tonight about that new U.S.-China trade deal and what it may mean for Nova Scotia's seafood sector.
The trade war between the two superpowers has been good for the seafood business in this province. Paul Withers has the story.
Canadian live lobster sales to China soared after China slapped a 35% tariff on American seafood. Sales were up 123% since 2017. Chinese demand is credited with keeping shore prices up, even as landings maintain record levels. The new trade deal does not lower those tariffs. It does commit China to buying $32 billion worth of agricultural products from the United States over the next 2 years, including lobster and other seafood.
But basically, it won't make any difference for us.
Nova Scotia's Minister of Fisheries, Keith Caldwell, is not worried. You just say we sell everything we catch.
We sell everything we can catch. We sell top quality product. We send it on time, and their customers are very happy with it.
This business professor sees it differently.
Some of the substitution they had, from U.S. to Canada, that's going to evaporate. So we're going to pay a price.
Ahmed Rahman says the Chinese government has the clout to compel its companies to switch back to American lobster through its control of the banking system.
I understand there's a lot of skepticism, whether they will actually follow through the promises they have made. But if they really want to do it, they can deliver on this promise, because China is essentially a pseudo-capitalism.
Global Affairs Canada and the lobster industry in this region are also watching the situation closely. The amount of seafood China will buy from American fishermen, even with the higher tariffs still in place, has not been spelled out. Paul Withers, CBC News, Halifax.
Friends of a Cape Breton woman who was killed by her husband in 2017 are not happy tonight. It's because a judge awarded the proceeds of Sarah Beth Forbes' life insurance policy to her killer because he was found not criminally responsible. Gary Mansfield reports.
I'm sickened by it, really. It's sad.
Terry Spooney says her friend Sarah Beth Forbes would be disgusted with the court's ruling that her husband would receive Forbes' $200,000 plus interest life insurance policy instead of their son.
She'd be devastated to know that he got her insurance policy and not her son, that it wasn't entrusted to her son for education or, when he gets older.
In 2015, Forbes bought a life insurance policy, naming Richard Maidment, who also uses the surname McNeil, as the beneficiary and their son as an alternate. 2 years later, the Gardner Mines man was found not criminally responsible for killing his wife. He was sent to the East Coast Forensic Hospital in Dartmouth. Maidment's mother applied for the insurance proceeds on his behalf, and so did Forbes' mother on behalf of the boy. The judge ruled that because Maidment is not a criminal, he would get the $200,000 and not his son. Forbes' friend Valerie Uden says,
if you're not responsible for her death, he shouldn't be responsible enough to get the money.
Both friends say they will never forget their friend, Sarah Beth Forbes.
She was always smiling, always laughing, bubbly personality, and would do anything for anybody. She had a heart bigger than life itself.
Gary Mansfield, CBC News, Sydney.
A home in Cole Harbour was badly damaged by fire this morning. It broke out at around 8:30 and the home was fully involved by the time fire crews arrived on scene. A woman inside the house was able to get out safely along with her pets. Today's strong winds fanned the flames, which made the fire even harder for crews to contain. A fire investigator has been called to the scene to determine the cause of the fire.
16 border collies seized by the Nova Scotia SPCA last month are now ready for new homes.
The organization says these dogs have very special requirements. People with previous dog experiences who can provide a calm and quiet home, no children under the age of 16, and a fenced-in backyard is a plus.
Very sweet dogs. The best thing about them is that they're not aggressive when they're scared. They just kind of shut down. So it's that fight or flight. They're definitely of the flight variety. So it's just it's allowing them to do what they want to do. And lots of positive reinforcement, lots of treats that we're doing, introducing them to new environments and stimuli slowly, and having a lot of patience.
And my full conversation with the SPCA's Sandra Fleming is still ahead. She's our newsmaker, coming up in just a few minutes. So yeah, yesterday you were lamenting not being able to cover the storm in Newfoundland, but hey, there you go.
Covering it.
Here we go.
How things worked out.
Mother Nature has its ways.
You were right back into it.
Right back into it. And for all those watching in Newfoundland and Labrador this evening, heads up that we have now planned a live radio special, and that starts in just over 5 minutes at the top of the clock for you folks at 7 o'clock, and that is on CBC Radio 1. Did I get that, Julian? Okay, and the Listen app, yes. So you can check that out there. And it sounds like I'm heading down there after this. So we'll talk soon. And before we get to the Nova Scotia weather, let's, of course, where the severest weather is. That's where the action is. Let's start with Newfoundland. I showed this earlier, but in case you missed it, I mean, these are just some incredible wind gusts.
Hurricane force.
Even for Newfoundland standards, absolutely. Green Island, Fortune Bay. Now, that is an exposed site. I have seen that site hit 150 before. I'm not sure I have seen it exceed 160. That is incredible. Bonavista, 157. Hearts Delight, 156. And you can see the list goes on and on with the 100-plus numbers. Now, St. John's Airport is not in there. Meteorologist Rodney Barney, who sent these numbers to me, says their wind sensor is down at the airport. So they are now just estimating winds in case you're trying to keep track of the winds at St. John's Airport. The 60 to 75 plus in Ashley Brawweiler's forecast, it appears it is going to be that, absolutely. We already have reports of 66 centimeters in Mount Pearl. We are at 52 centimeters at the St. John's Airport. Gander at last check was at 12, but the snow will continue as we see there all night long. Amounts dropping off to the west. There is the snow, which just continues to come down across the Avalon. A little bit of a break here for the South Shore down through into the Cape Race region, Trepassey, but it is very heavy snow across the Avalon. We have seen snowfall rates today in the 8 to 10 centimeter range per hour. Unbelievable. Now, as we walk through this evening into the overnight, there are those very strong wind gusts continuing for St. John's, quieter along the west coast, but basically from the Bay of Exploits down through Bonavista Bay and to the Northern Avalon, it is going to be storming, and it will continue in wind gusts in the 120 to 150 range late this evening. Finally, through the early overnight hours, we should start to feel some of those gusts becoming a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. And as we roll into the Saturday morning time period, gusts back to 100 in St. John's, still gusting in excess of 120, though, possible for Bonavista, even through early morning. And then those winds tapering off by mid-morning and into the noon hour, gusts to around 80 kilometers per hour. Gusts to 100, as you can see there in Bonavista, even by lunchtime tomorrow and then into the afternoon, really starting to ease will be those winds, thankfully. Now, your forecast for tomorrow in St. John's, unfortunately, it will be minus 12 and all across eastern Newfoundland into the minus 12 to 14 range. Thankfully, those winds easing, but the wind chill values will be well into the minus 20, so it will be very cold for trying to break down all of those snow drifts and start the process of digging out, which will no doubt take more than one day. Onshore flurries for the west coast, winds gusting 40 to 50 there, and it is quiet in through Labrador. For Sunday across Newfoundland, we're talking about minus 6 in St. John's and minus 8 from Gander across to Corner Brook, minus 2 to minus 3 along that south coast, snow increasing from the south. And that is because we're going to be watching our next system, which is going to be moving in. We'll time that out in just a second. I want to quickly talk to our friends here, of course, in Nova Scotia, where we're talking about this area of high pressure that's been helping to fuel the storm over Newfoundland. And it's been storming through Cape Breton today. Wind warnings in effect, blowing snow advisories for Colchester, Cumberland into PEI. Those blowing snow advisories will continue there through this evening. Note that the onshore flurries will continue for Nova Scotia and then tapering off as we move into the Saturday morning time period. A very chilly start into the deep minus teens and then only recovering into the low minus double digits tomorrow. So it is going to be a very, very cold one. Minus 8 in Yarmouth is about as warm as it will get. Minus 9 in Halifax, minus 13 to 14 Northumberland Shore. And those wind chill values into the minus 20s across Nova Scotia in the morning, easing off into the minus teens as we roll into the afternoon. And then we've got our Sunday system to watch. This will be tracking in with snow throughout Saturday night. We're waking up on Sunday morning with snow on the go, and then a mix from snow to rain for southern parts of the province first, Halifax in around the lunchtime hour, and then northern areas may flirt with a little bit of drizzle late afternoon and through the early evening hours. Excuse me, but this looks like primarily a snow event, Northumberland Shore into Cape Breton. We could see amounts there in the 15 to 20, maybe even 25 centimeter range, whereas it appears amounts in the 5 to 15 centimeter range for areas in the south, including Halifax, where temperatures should get to around 3 degrees. And that system will be moving into Newfoundland as well, but one system at a time. For all you folks watching in Newfoundland, check our continuing coverage right now on